This is for all you multi-talented, multitasking, multi-everything people out there. Take it away.
Find your glory, write your story, fearless feet will carry you. Time you own it, take your moment, be a fire burning through. Hustling from night until morning, grinding it out, it won't be long. Feel your power, it's your hour, you inspire, you are strong.
Enjoy your Zoa. No applause? You're all fired.
Now that you've reached the stage in your life where quality television is important, Nubian TV is a black network that speaks to your lifestyle. Nubian TV is the world's first digital network devoted to the upscale and political lifestyles of black people. Nubian TV's programming includes politics, travel, fashion, food, automotive, arts and culture, civil rights, music, and more. Watch now on Amazon Fire TV, Roku, or watch globally at nubiantv.net. Nubian TV, it's what you want to watch.
Come with me if you want to live a more delicious life.
Oh, maybe we should get in the van.
In this world, we don't get to control much. The past, male pattern baldness.
What geese?
Got one right now. The urge to pop that bubble wrap. But there is one thing we do get to choose every single day. What we eat. Welcome to the Sonic Department of Research and Deliciousment. We have everything you want, didn't know you wanted, and some things you didn't know were possible. Because we believe if you're not having fun, you're not living free. So come on, let's live a little.
Hey, good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Money! Are you ready? They are ready. Covering the biggest events in the country right now.
There's a lot going on here.
It's always a good time. That's what the show's about.
That's good.
Really good. Very good. Coming in hot, Jimmy, coming in hot.
It's far from elementary.
Oh.
Good morning, America. I'm not going to try to strut like Michael or anything.
I have known George a long, long time.
Have you ever gotten him to dance?
Look at that face.
You don't just see it, you feel it.
I'm in.
I'm in. I'm in.
I'm in too.
I'll be here.
I am here and so happy.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
I'm in. That tells you something when Snoop Dogg's in. Michael, George, Lara, Ginger.
Prepare for a journey beyond imagination, beyond belief, beyond anything you've experienced before. Universal Epic Universe, a new theme park where you'll step through extraordinary portals to 5 immersive worlds. Prepare for a cosmic voyage of discovery, an isle of fire-breathing excitement, a shadowy world of monsters and mystery, new wonders in the wizarding world, and a new way to play. Plus the splendor of a magnificent resort hotel overlooking the park. It's all new excitement at Universal Orlando Resort. A week's worth of vacation thrills with 4 amazing theme parks, a variety of spectacular themed hotels, and incredible dining and entertainment. It's all at Universal Orlando Resort, where you'll find new adventures every day. Explore the astonishing worlds of Universal Epic Universe at Universal Orlando Resort.
Well, hello to you, and you. Welcome into another edition of Braylon's Virtual Tour Live. 2 bonus tours for you upon today. Y'all know I normally don't go live on Thursdays unless there is something to talk about. And oh, buddy, the Smokey Robinson SA lawsuit is definitely something to talk about. And so I have the court docs. Shout out to deadline.com for sure. Hey, the real Colton James, good to see you, good sir. Then later on tonight, we'll be talking about Lionsgate and Stars. And there is some news about Warner Brothers Discovery as well, but we'll get to all that at 8:30 p.m. this evening. With that being said, higher is waiting, low is available, but either way, we are live on tour. Let me take down this iconic intro here as the fireworks are going off behind us, ladies and gentlemen. You see that virtual tour background? Yes, you do. Yes, you do, Riley. You hear that virtual tour music? Yes, you do. And then there is me. Hey, everybody, welcome in. Glad to have all of you here. Let's get to the getting and doing what we do. Yes, indeed, here. Whew. All right, y'all. Oh my, 27 pages. Okay, we're gonna get through this. Okay, we're gonna get through this. Look, I changed the show. Don't worry, we will get through this. Okay. So here we go. Plaintiff Jane Doe's 1 through 4, inclusive here and after referred to as plaintiffs, are individuals in their complaint against defendants William Robinson Jr., aka Smokey Robinson, and Francis Robinson here in after referred to as defendants and or defendant Smokey Robinson and defendant Francis Robinson, and does 1 through 25 inclusive complaint and allege as follows. The plaintiffs are and at all relevant times mentioned herein were individuals residing in the county of Los Angeles within the state of California. Plaintiffs are adult females suing under pseudonyms to protect their privacy because it involves sexual misconduct by defendant Smokey Robinson. Upon information and belief, defendant Smokey Robinson is in at all relevant times mentioned herein was an individual doing substantial business in the county of Los Angeles within the state of California, employed by the plaintiffs and each of them, and caused injuries and damages to them in the state of Los Angeles, state of California. Defendant William Robinson Jr. is a legendary American R&B and soul singer, songwriter, record producer, and former record executive and renowned entertainer. He was the founder and frontman of the pioneering Motown vocal group, The Miracles, for which he was also the chief songwriter and producer. Defendant William Robinson Jr., also best known by his stage name Smokey Robinson. Defendant Francis Robinson is defendant Smokey Robinson's spouse and was also at times material here in plaintiff's employer along with Smokey Robinson. The true names, identities, and capabilities, whether individual, associate, corporate, or otherwise, the defendants does 1 through 225 inclusive are unknown to plaintiffs, who therefore sues these defendants by such fictitious names pursuant to the Code of Civil Procedure 474, when the true names and capabilities of such fictitiously designed defendants are ascertained. Plaintiffs will amend this complaint to insert their true names, identities, capabilities, and together with proper charging allegations. So basically, they have the room to be able to amend this complaint to insert their names, identities, and their capabilities with the proper charges when they feel like it. That's what I'm getting from that. Plaintiffs are informed and believe that each of the defendants sued herein as Does are responsible in some manner for the events and happenings alleged in this complaint, and thereby legally causing the injuries and damages to plaintiffs as set forth in this complaint. So, plaintiffs are informed and believe that each of the defendants herein was at all times relevant here to the agent, employee, employer, subsidiary, parent company, representative, and or co-conspirators of the remaining defendants, and was acting at least in part within the course and scope of such relationship, jurisdiction, and venue. This court has proper jurisdiction over this action pursuant to the Code of Civil Procedure 410.10. Plaintiffs allege that the amount claimed is in excess of the judicial minimum of this court. Venue is proper in this court pursuant to Code of Civil Procedure 395. Set it up for you. We're in LA. Okay. Basically, that's what it is. Okay. Here it is here. Factual allegations. Like I said, this is from deadline.com. And in total transparency, because we are about transparency over here. So here's the article from where I got it from. Right here, the American Country Music Awards is happening with Billboard there. So this is where I got what you saw right there. So this article right here is where I got the lawsuit. So shout out to, like I said, deadline.com. Just want to give y'all transparency there. All right, here we go. Plaintiff Jane Doe 1 realleges and incorporates by reference paragraphs 1 through 10 as those set forth here in full. Jane Doe 1 began working for defendants as their housekeeper at their Chatsworth residence on January 3rd, 2023 until February 2024, where she was forced to resign due to defendant Smokey Robinson's repeated sexual assaults and sexual harassment against her. The first sexual assault occurred in March of 2023 and continued until her forced resignation in February of 2024. Jane Doe 1 worked on weekends for the defendants when the rest of the staff was off. On a typical Saturday, defendant Smokey Robinson would take defendant Francis Robinson to the nail salon and would rush home, knowing that he would be home alone with plaintiff JD1. Wait a minute, how old is Smokey Robinson? Hang on. I just want to see something. Okay, so Smokey Robinson is 85 years old. And his wife how old is she? Okay, so she's 73 years old. So I'm a little confused. If Smokey, if you 83 and Francis is 73, why in the world would your wife have to rush home knowing that you would be home alone with plaintiff Jane Doe 1? I mean, at 73 and 83, yeah, listen. But okay. Upon returning home, defendant Smokey Robinson will call Jane Doe 1, call her into his blue bedroom. Color coordinated? Okay. Lock the door and escort their dog Shiloh out of the room. He will have showered and clothed only in his underwear. Okay, we're gonna be in for a while, y'all. So get a margarita, get a Moscow Mule, get a dirty martini, extra dirty, and be here a minute, okay? Here we go. Then he would neatly place a white towel on the bed, not to soil the bed linen, in preparation for what was about to occur. He only shower and be clothed in his underwear. Child, listen. Okay. Trigger warning for everybody. Okay. Defendant Smokey Robinson would then begin to kiss Jane Doe 1 in her mouth, neck, and breast. Then he would penetrate her portal with his fingers, orally copulate her, and then proceed to penetrate her portal using his erect rocket ship, causing her great pain. I'm cloaking it for YouTube purposes, okay? I think y'all can read, okay? So just saying, okay? Hey, good evening, my friend. Good evening. We're reading the court documents for Smokey Robinson. Child, you are you just came in right on time, my friends. Good to see you. So to recap, everybody, just if you're coming in, so Jane Doe 1 worked on weekends for defendants when the rest of the staff was off. Defendant Smokey Robinson would take defendant Francis Robinson to the nail salon and rush home knowing that he would be home alone with Jane Doe 1. Apparently, Smokey Robinson would have showered and clothed only in his underwear. Then he would place a white towel on his bed, not to soil the linens, in preparation for what was about to occur. Defendant Smokey Robinson would then begin to kiss Jane Doe 1 in her mouth, neck, and breast, and then would penetrate her portal with his fingers, orally copulate her, and then proceed to penetrate her portal using his erect rocket ship, causing her great pain. Defendant Smokey Robinson enjoyed releasing in her portal without using a glove. I guess I'm cooking it for two purposes. Okay, I know what y'all thinking. Bray, you grown. Well, this is YouTube. Talk to YouTube. Okay, so there it is. Jane Doe 1 would protest and resist his sexual assaults, but to no avail. A desperate attempt to get him to stop sexual assaults, she would proclaim, "You're married," to which he would casually ignore. Defendant Smokey Robinson sexually assaulted Jane Doe 1 in that manner at least 7 times. The last assault occurred on February 17th, 2024, prompting her forced resignation on February 24th of 2024. Jane Doe 1 was unwilling to report defendant Smokey Robinson's unlawful acts to authorities due to her losing her livelihood, family appraisal, public embarrassment, shame, and humiliation to her and her family, the possible adverse effect on her immigration status, as well as being threatened and intimidated by defendant Smokey Robinson's well-recognized celebrity status and his influential friends and associates. Defendant Francis Robinson failed to take the appropriate corrective action to prevent defendant Smokey Robinson's deviant misconduct against Jane Doe 1, despite having full knowledge of his prior acts of sexual misconduct, having settled cases with other women that have suffered and experienced similar sexual assaults perpetrated by him. Now, like I said, everything is alleged in this document. I was not there, you were not there, we were not there. I am just reading it as you are hearing it. Okay, I have not looked at these documents before the show because I want to be live in real time with all of you. Live on tour, that is. Defendant Francis Robinson also perpetuated a hostile work environment by regularly screaming at Jane Doe 1 in a hostile manner, using ethically derogatory words and language. Wait a minute. Hang on. You mean to tell me that Smokey Robinson, who was black, and his wife, well, we don't know her race, but from what she looked like was black. You mean black people were using derogatory words and language that, like, us minorities gotta stick together. I mean, not everybody deserves that type of energy from us. Like Issa Rae said, I have room for everybody black. That was a dumbass statement from Issa Rae. Issa Rae is not dumb. She made a dumbass statement. Everybody does not deserve support. Moving on. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. But if you let it fly, it must apply. During Jane Doe 1's employment with defendants, she worked 10 hours per day, 3 days a week, Saturday through Monday, at a rate of $18 an hour. Okay. Let's times that out. So let's see here. So $18 times 10. That's only $180 times 3 days a week. That's $540 a week. $18 per hour. $540 a week. So if you do that times 4 Fridays, that's $2,160 times 5 Fridays, that's $2,700. Child, okay. They failed to pay minimum wage or pay overtime wages for the hours worked in excess of 8 hours, nor provided rest or lunch breaks She will often work holidays for the defendants without being paid the holiday rate. Defendants also failed to provide Jane Doe 1 wage statements for the hours worked. I mean, most of the time when it comes to celebrities, I mean, that's, arranged through, a house manager, right? You know what I mean? But also too, like Smokey Robinson, as voluminous as you are with your career, you mean to tell me that you couldn't get the wage statements for your worker when you want your royalty review from BMI and ASCAP? And when you record an album that you want your check from the record company, but you could give wage statements for the hours worked? Okay, let's roll on. Jane Doe 2, plaintiff Jane Doe 2 realleges and incorporates by reference paragraphs 1 through 9 as though set forth here in full. Jane Doe 2 began working for defendants as a housekeeper at their Chatsworth residence in or about May 2014 until February 2020, when she was forced to resign due to defendant Smokey Robinson's repeated sexual assaults and sexual harassment against her. Defendant Smokey Robinson's brutal sexual advances were constant, even predictable throughout her employment with defendants. Defendant Smokey Robinson's sexual assaults began in the later part. I don't know why I said latter, but later part of 2016 when they were home alone, and he would text message her asking him to meet him at areas of the Chadwick residence where closed circuit cameras weren't located. Okay. He would then summon her to either the laundry room or garage where there was no cameras. Okay, now the laundry room, I can understand why there are no cameras, but garage? Dude, you're Smokey Robinson. Do you not know that there are people like stealing packages and stuff? Like, why wouldn't you have a camera in your garage? Okay. When arriving, he would immediately grab her and begin to penetrate her portal with his fingers, causing excruciating pain, and then would proceed to rape her. Defendant Smokey Robinson also forced her into his blue bedroom and make her perform fellatio on his erect cream stick. You wouldn't put your mouth on a rocket ship because rocket ship is metal, you understand? Moving on. Thereafter, he would proceed to forcibly penetrate her with his erect rocket ship without a glove. He would enjoy releasing all over Jane Doe 2's face, much to his satisfaction and her abet humiliation. Defendant Smokey Robinson sexually assaulted her in this manner or on at least 23 different occasions. Defendant Smokey Robinson would threaten her that if she refused to have sex with him, he would make defendant Frances Robinson be mean to her, which she was very capable of doing. So Smokey Robinson and Frances like that Bishop and First Lady, where the First Lady ironed her husband's shirts to go cheat on her. Because, like, why would your wife be mean to a housekeeper just because the housekeeper wouldn't have intercourse with you unless y'all have an open relationship? But still, that would have to be explained and consensual. You know what? Let's just roll on, Chuck. I cannot. Jane Doe 2 was unwilling to report defendant Smokey Robinson's unlawful acts to the authorities due to her losing her livelihood, family reprisal, public embarrassment, shame, and humiliation to her family, the possible adverse effect on her immigration status, as well as being threatened and intimidated by defendant Smokey Robinson's well-recognized celebrity status and his influential friends and associates. Defendant Frances Robinson failed to take the appropriate corrective action to prevent defendant Smokey Robinson's deviant misconduct against Jane Doe 2, despite having full knowledge of his prior acts of sexual misconduct, having settled cases with other women that suffered and experienced similar sexual assaults perpetrated by him. Defendant Frances Robinson also perpetuated a hostile work environment by regularly screaming at JD2 in a hostile manner, using ethically derogatory words and language. During Jane Doe 2's employment with defendants, she worked 10 hours a day, 6 days per week, Monday through Saturday, at the rate of $10 an hour, increased to $12 in 2017. They failed to pay minimum or overtime wages for hours worked, including those in excess of 8 hours, nor provided rest or lunch breaks. She would often work holidays for defendants without being paid the holiday rate. Defendants also failed to provide JD2 wage statements for the hours worked. Okay. So 10 times 10, that's $100, right? $10 per hour. So $10 for each hour. That's $10 times 10, that's 100 times 6, that's $600, right? So 6 days a week. So then she would get paid Saturday, right? So if there's 4 Saturdays, 600 times 4 would be $2,400, and then 600 times 5 would be $3,000. All right, y'all. Here we go. Jane Doe 3. Plaintiff Jane Doe 3 realleges and incorporates by reference paragraphs 1 through 9 as those set forth here in full. Jane Doe 3 began working for defendants as a housekeeper at their Chatsworth residence in or about February 2012 until April 2024, where she was forced to resign due to defendant Smokey Robinson's repeated sexual assault and sexual harassment against her. Defendant Smokey Robinson repeatedly sexually harassed, sexually assaulted, and raped Jane Doe 3 during most of her entire employment with defendants. Defendant Smokey Robinson will force her into his blue bedroom. Where after he would perform his ritual of exiting his bathroom nude or only wearing underwear after showering. And then carefully placing a towel on his bed not to soil the linens for what was about to occur. He would then disrobe Jane Doe 3 and then orally copulate her. And then he would force her to lie face down on the towel so that he could penetrate her portal with his erect rocket ship from the rear. Defendant Smokey Robinson repeatedly raped Jane Doe 3 at this manner at least 20 times. On one occasion, when Jane Doe 3 resisted his advances, defendant Smokey Robinson offered Jane Doe 3 $500 to allow him to orally copulate her, an offer she refused. While not attempting to penetrate her portal, defendant Smokey Robinson would make unwanted advances against her, touching her breast portal and kissing her on her neck and on her mouth. JD3 resigned her position with defendants on April 22nd, 2024 due to defendant Smokey Robinson's continued sexual assaults and the hostile work environment she experienced daily. Jane Doe 3 was unwilling to report defendant Smokey Robinson's unlawful acts to the authorities due to her fear of losing her livelihood, found reprisal, public embarrassment, shame, and humiliation to her and her family, the possible adverse effect on her immigration status, as well as being threatened and intimidated by defendant Smokey Robinson's well-recognized celebrity status and his influential friends and associates. Defendant Frances Robinson failed to take the appropriate corrective action to prevent defendant Smokey Robinson's deviant misconduct against Jane Doe 3, despite having full knowledge of his prior acts of sexual misconduct, having settled cases with other women that suffered and experienced similar sexual assaults perpetrated by him. Defendant Frances Robinson also perpetrated a hostile work environment by regularly screaming at JD3 in a hostile manner, using ethically derogatory words and language. During JD3's employment with defendants, she worked 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday, at the rate of $18 an hour. They failed to pay minimum or overtime wages for the hours worked, including those in excess of 8 hours, nor provided rest or lunch break. She will often work Sundays and holidays for defendants without being paid overtime. For the holiday rate, defendants also failed to provide JD3's wage statements for the hours worked. So $18 an hour. So $18 an hour times 10, that's $180 times 6, that's $1,080, right? So we do that number times 4, so 4 Saturdays would be $4,320, and then 5 Saturdays, right, would be $5,400. Let me see what y'all are saying in the comments here. My thoughts is getting a hey from the real Colton James. Let's see, not worth the paper and ink. The lawyer they hired don't even believe this rock and bull. I smell money grab. They're talking about white towels and want $50 million. Sound like PD and SS cases, in my opinion. They are painting this old man as a real wild thing. Can he do all this at his age? He must have the fountain of youth. Well, like I said, I don't know. Literally, when was this? This was what? Yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, that this came out, right? It was because we did a full breakdown of Disney Abu Dhabi, right? So Disney is creating a new Disneyland in Abu Dhabi, and I said, hey y'all, we will talk about this tomorrow because it was just so much going on yesterday. And so I said, I normally don't go live on Thursdays, but like this is something that the culture is talking about, so we will talk about it. From what it sounded like, it does sound like that. My thoughts for sure. I think the things that were very consistent were, the blue bedroom has been very consistent. Also, too, the way that the ladies would be in this. How can I put it? How the women moved through their experience with Smokey. It was in each experience, right? So, like I said, I'm reading it as you're hearing it. I'm just going off of what's here. Because like I said, I wasn't there, you wasn't there, we weren't there. But, good Lord Jesus. Just, holy, okay. So, Jane Doe 4, everybody. Jane Doe 4. Here we go. Jane Doe 4, plaintiff Jane Doe 4, realleges and incorporates by reference paragraphs 1 through 9 allegations as though set forth here in full. Jane Doe 4 began working for defendants as a housekeeper at their Chadsworth residence, including being defendant Francis Robinson's personal assistant, cook, and hairdresser. Okay, so this one right here looks like it must be the most involved one, just from not only are you working as a housekeeper for the couple, but you are also Francis Robinson's personal assistant, cook, and hairdresser. Interesting. Okay. In or about October 2006 to April 22nd of 2024, where she was forced to resign due to defendant Smokey Robinson's repeated sexual assaults and sexual harassment against her. Defendant Smokey Robinson first sexually assaulted her in 2007 when she accompanied him to his Las Vegas home. While there and alone with him, defendant Smokey Robinson forced her into his bedroom and raped her. The sexual assaults continued there and other places. In or about mid-2019, Jane Doe 4 was asked by defendant Smokey Robinson to accompany him to his temporary residence located in Bell Canyon to clean. While cleaning the master bedroom, defendant Smokey Robinson showered and returned to his bedroom naked with an erect rocket ship. Then he proceeded to pull back the sheets and placed a towel down, not so the bed led for what was about to occur. So you mean to tell me at 83 years old that Smokey Robinson placed a towel down every time before he went in? Okay. That was also very consistent through each of these stories here. Then he began to kiss her breast, neck, and proceed to orally copulate her and then raped her. Defendant Smokey Robinson will often create a situation or seize the opportunity where he will be alone with Jane Doe 4 at their Chadsworth residence. When the other housekeepers would leave the residence, defendant Smokey Robinson would summon her to his blue bedroom while sitting naked on his bed. He would then lock the door and place a towel down on the bed. After doing so, he will pull Jane Doe 4's clothes off against her protestations, I think. Protestations, like protests, basically. Pushed her down the bed, then proceed to rape her. Defendant Smokey Robinson never used a glove during the sexual assaults, releasing into JD4's portal or withdrawing and releasing all of her body, much to his satisfaction and her abet humiliation. Defendant Smokey Robinson will also constantly admire and touch JD4's breast, kissing her neck and forcing his tongue into her mouth. His sexual assault and his sexual harassment, and assaults continue to the very day she decided to resign her employment with the defendants. Jane Doe 4 was unwilling to report defendant Smokey Robinson's unlawful acts to the authorities due to her fear of losing her livelihood, family reprisal, public embarrassment, shame, humiliation to her and her family, as well as being threatened by defendants. Smokey Robinson's well-recognized celebrity status and influential friends and associates. Defendant Frances Robinson failed to take the appropriate corrective action to prevent defendant Robinson's deviant misconduct against Jane Doe 4, despite having full knowledge of his prior acts of sexual misconduct, having settled cases with other women that suffered and experienced similar sexual assaults perpetrated by him. Defendant Frances Robinson also perpetuated a hostile work environment by regularly screaming at Jane Doe 4 in a hostile manner, using ethically derogatory words and language during Jane Doe 4's employment with the defendants. She worked 10 hours per day, 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday, at the rate of $15 an hour, raised to $20 an hour in 2018. They failed to pay minimum or overtime wages for the hours worked, including those in excess of 8 hours, nor provided rest or lunch breaks. Jane Doe 4 will also regularly travel with the defendants, but was never compensated for her time doing so. Defendants also failed to provide Jane Doe 4 wage statements for the hours worked. So let's see here. Math time once again, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see here. Let's see. So $15 an hour times 10, that's $150 times 10. That is 1,500 times 4, $6,000 times 5, $7,500. So it seems like defendant 4, Jane Doe 4, got paid the most, and it looks like the one that got the least paid, just from what I'm seeing here. So it looks like the one that got paid the least here was Jane Doe 2. Okay. Let's see here. Hey, Nikki News and Narcissism. Good to see you here. We are just in the middle of reading the Smokey Robinson lawsuit. We are breaking this down live in real time. There's 27 pages. We are on page right now. Page 9. And by the way, for those of you who may not want to sit through a live tour and listen to me give commentary, you can read it on your own time because the link is in the description box below. Okay? All right. Let's see here. First cause of action, negligence by plaintiffs against all defendants. Plaintiffs reallege and incorporate by reference all the above allegations as though set forth here in full. Defendants acted negligently and carelessly when they caused personal injury to plaintiffs. Defendants owed plaintiffs a duty to exercise reasonable care. Defendants breached their duty to exercise reasonable care when they caused physical, emotional, and monetary harm to plaintiffs. Defendants approximately caused plaintiffs to suffer economic damages as well as physical harm. Defendants' negligence was a substantial factor in causing plaintiffs physical and economic harm. So that was the first cause of action, is negligence. Okay, so second cause of action is sexual battery. Plaintiffs by plaintiffs against defendant Smokey Robinson. Plaintiffs reallege and incorporate by reference all the above allegations as though set forth here in full. California Civil Code 708.5 provides a statutory cause of action against a person who commits a sexual battery or acts with the intent to cause harmful or offensive contact with a intimate part of another or intimate part of the cells, or acts to cause immediate apprehension of a sexual battery or harmful or offensive contact of an intimate part. Intimate part is defined as a sexual organ, anus, groin, buttocks, or breast of a female. I'm reading it from the lawsuit, YouTube, okay? Because good Lord Jesus, we don't know what the plea deal for Diddy was, but hell, the opening statements will be on May 12th. So I don't want to hear it. Okay, listen, we are not court TV. We just provide the social context to the news, not everything else. Go find Pam Esquire, go find Leader Turn, go find, lawyers who actually do this. We're just providing the social context here. Defendant Smokey Robinson acted with intent to cause harmful and offensive contact with plaintiff's sexual organs, groin, and buttocks. These episodes, as more fully illustrated in the statement of facts, happened on numerous occasions over a period of years as a direct result of defendant Smokey Robinson's intentional and forceful acts and sexually offensive contact with plaintiffs occurred. Defendant Smokey Robinson touched plaintiffs' entire bodies, including their portals, breasts, legs, abdomen, lips, and face. Plaintiffs did not consent to defendant Smokey Robinson's sexual contact, or touching. Plaintiffs explicitly told defendant Robinson on numerous occasions that they were not interested in his advances and objected to his forceful, physical, sexual, and harmful conduct. Plaintiffs were severely harmed and humiliated by defendant Smokey Robinson's conduct as a direct and proximate result of defendant Robinson's actions. Pled herein, plaintiffs suffered and continue to suffer economic damages, as well as serve emotional and physical harm, humiliation, distress, embarrassment, and anxiety as a result of defendant Smokey Robinson's conduct in an amount greatly exceeding the jurisdictional minimum of this court and subject to proof at the time of trial, but in a sum not less than $50 million. Now, of course, y'all know that some of that's going to go to the attorneys, right? But let's just say on the surface, right? Let's see here. $50 million divided by 4. That's how much each person would get if they got the whole amount, which would be $12,500,000. But with taxes, I'm sure that'll probably be less. Defendant Smokey Robinson's conduct was willful, wanton, and malicious with a conscious disregard for plaintiff's rights, privacy, and feelings. Such punitive damages are warranted. I know. But as you know, we cover everything over here, and I'm doing this very tactfully, very gracefully, but also very factual, right? These are the facts as they are out here. Sure, I'm giving commentary from my point of view, from just reading it as you're hearing it. I'm not adding any sauce, as they say. You know what I mean? Because at the beginning, middle, end of the day, I'm not a lawyer, okay? I'm a social commentator, radio broadcaster first, social commentator through this platform. And we cover everything else of the culture. You know what I mean? We covered Jonathan Majors. We covered the P. Diddy Cassie lawsuit. We read the pages. We talked about Keke Palmer's SA assault, read the documents there. Jonathan Majors. So we covered it. And I would venture to say that, and this is not to Nikki News or narcissism or to my thoughts, of course, to James Hodge or to anybody on the replay gang or anybody that comes in, I would venture to say that we have probably covered every big cultural story with as much love, grace, and space as we could for that destination within the container that we had. Because listen, you don't know what you don't know, right? So until it is official from the sources involved, you go off of the prompt that's given. Stick to the prompt, and the prompt won't be about you. But that's also called just doing the right thing and being raised right and actually giving a fuck about how you carry yourself. But that's a whole nother tour. Third cause of action as we get back to the documents here. And thank you, my friend, for recognizing that. Love you as always, Nikki News with Narcissism. By the way, like, comment, share, and subscribe to Nikki News with Narcissism. She's also a great content creator as well. Third cause of action, assault by plaintiffs against all defendant Smokey Robinson. Plaintiffs reallege and incorporate by reference all the above allegations as those set forth here in full. Defendant Smokey Robinson acted intending to cause harmful and offensive contact. Plaintiffs reasonably believe that they were about to be touched in a harmful and offensive manner when defendant Smokey Robinson repeatedly forced his fingers and rocket ship into their portals, causing severe and excruciating pain. Plaintiffs did not consent to defendant Smokey Robinson's harmful and offensive contact with their bodies. Plaintiffs were harmed and offended by defendant Smokey Robinson's conduct. Plaintiffs suffered and continue to suffer emotional and physical harm as a result of defendant Smokey Robinson's conduct. Defendant Smokey Robinson's conduct was willful, wanton, malicious, with conscious disregard of plaintiff's rights, privacy, and feelings. As such, punitive damages are warranted. Oh, I almost forgot when we covered Shannon Sharpe. We read the documents as they were. And by the way, I talked to my friend Bishop today, and he asked me, were there any updates on the Shannon Sharpe case? And I said the only other story I remember was a woman coming out about her and Shannon having a baby, and there was some intimidation allegedly. And I even said with the Shannon Sharpe case, like, bruh, you got incident from Fox, got incident from, CBS. We don't know what you did at ESPN. Okay, that may be jumping the pal, but still. And like I said, all these cases that we've covered and we'll cover for the future are innocent to proven guilty. But just because that is, as a matter of fact, of innocent to proven guilty, doesn't mean we can't also say that, in the words of Nikki News and Narcissism, this is too much. Two things can be true in the same experience. So, let's see here. Fourth cause of action, false imprisonment. By plaintiffs against defendant Smokey Robinson. Plaintiffs reallege and incorporate by reference all the above allegations as those set forth here in full. Defendant Smokey Robinson intentionally deprived plaintiffs of their freedom of movement by use of physical barriers, force, threats of force, menace, or reasonable duress, including locking his blue bedroom door to prevent plaintiffs' attempts to flee from his sexual assaults. Plaintiffs were harmed by defendant Smokey Robinson's forceful confinement, restraint, detention, including physical and emotional harm as a result of being trapped in his bedroom while being assaulted by him. Defendant Smokey Robinson's conduct was a substantial factor in causing plaintiffs physical and emotional harm. Plaintiffs were severely harmed by defendant Smokey Robinson's conduct. Plaintiffs suffered and continue to suffer severe emotional, physical harm, as a result of defendant Smokey Robinson's conduct. Defendant Robinson's conduct was willful, wanton, malicious, with a conscious disregard for plaintiff's rights, privacy, and feelings. As such, punitive damages are warranted. Fifth cause of action, everybody, intentional infliction of emotional distress by plaintiffs against all defendants. Plaintiffs reallege and incorporate by reference all the above allegations as those set forth here in full. Defendants' conduct was outrageous, despicable, and intolerable in a civilized society. Well, damn. And I only say damn because, that's a very definitive statement. You could say that this was out of line, unnecessary, and really damaging, but they said outrageous, despicable, and terrible in a civilized society. My media brain is having a mental brain blast right now, because in this lawsuit, where you have civilized society, what you're basically saying is society, the society that is civilized will agree that this behavior, this conduct, this manner of being was outrageous, despicable, and terrible. And anybody in the society who is uncivilized will agree with its outrageous, despicable, and terrible conduct, right? So it's who you with, basically, type of energy with that statement there. So that's definitely a definitive statement. Defendants intend to cause plaintiffs emotional distress. Defendants acted with reckless regard of the probability that plaintiffs will suffer emotional distress. It was fully aware that plaintiffs were present when the conduct occurred. Plaintiffs suffered emotional distress, including emotional distress related to being repeatedly sexual assaulted numerous times, spanning several years. Defendants' conduct was a substantial factor, in causing plaintiffs severe emotional distress. Defendants' conduct was willful, wanton, and malicious, with a conscious disregard of plaintiffs' rights, privacy, and feelings. As such, punitive damages are warranted. Sixth cause of action: negligent infliction of emotional distress by plaintiffs against all defendants. Plaintiffs reallege and incorporate by reference all the above allegations as those set forth here in full. Defendants were negligent in that they failed to exercise reasonable care and further acted with complete disregard, causing plaintiffs severe emotional distress, suffering, anguish, fright, horror, nervousness, grief, anxiety, worry, shock, humiliation. Let me flip it, reverse, rewind it back. Including suffering, anguish, fright, horror, nervousness, grief, anxiety, worry, shock, humiliation, and shame. Plaintiffs suffered severe emotional distress. Defendants' negligence was a substantial factor in causing plaintiffs serious emotional distress, including suffering, anguish, fright, horror, nervousness, grief, anxiety, worry, shock, humiliation, and shame. The seventh cause of action, everybody: gender violence by plaintiffs against defendant Smokey Robinson. Plaintiffs reallege and incorporate by reference all the above allegations as those set forth here in full. As pled herein, defendant Smokey Robinson acted to aid, abet, and or conspire to violate California Civil Code 52.4. Defendant Robinson committed acts of gender violence upon plaintiffs through the use, attempted use, or threatened use of physical force against their persons, committed at least in part based on plaintiff's gender. These acts resulted in the physical intrusion and invasion of plaintiffs in a sexual nature while under coercive conditions. As a direct and proximate cause of defendant Smokey Robinson's action pled herein, plaintiffs suffered and continue to suffer economic damages as well as severe emotional and physical harm, humiliation, distress, embarrassment, and anxiety as a result of defendant Smokey Robinson's conduct in an amount greatly exceeding the judicial minimum of this court. It's subject to proof at the time of trial, but in an amount not less than $50 million. Defendant Smokey Robinson's conduct was willful, wanton, and malicious, with a conscious disregard of plaintiffs' rights, privacy, and feelings. As such, punitive damages are warranted. Plaintiffs have incurred and continues to incur attorney's fees in the prosecution of this action, and therefore demand reasonable attorney's fees and costs. Defendant Smokey Robinson's conduct was willful, wanton, and malicious, with conscious disregard of plaintiffs' rights, privacy, and feelings. As such, punitive damages are warranted. Let me see what y'all are. Okay, no new comments in the live chat. Okay, I'm just checking in, seeing how y'all are doing, because when I'm on this screen, I can't see the comments. So I just want to make sure you guys are still hanging in there with me here. Like, comment, share, subscribe, like, tap all you here. We are in the middle of reading the Smokey Robinson lawsuit. For those of you who don't know, Smokey Robinson had a lawsuit given to him by 4 former housekeepers. So, We went through each of the Jane Does. They are named Jane Does to protect their names and, their legacy and how they move. But of course, there is a way for them to add their names and put more meat on the bones in this lawsuit if they want to later on down the line. But glad to have you here. Eighth cause of action, Ralph Act, by plaintiffs against defendant Smokey Robinson. Plaintiffs hereby reallege and incorporate by reference all the above allegations as those set forth in full. During their scope of employment, defendant Smokey Robinson violated plaintiff's right to be free from threat of violence or intimidation by threat of violence. Plaintiffs are informed and believe and on that basis allege that defendant Smokey Robinson threatened plaintiffs with violence because they are females and they were alone with him when the threats and acts of violence occurred. As a direct and proximate result of defendant Smokey Robinson's actions, plaintiffs were harmed and have suffered and continue to suffer special and general damages and extreme physical and emotional distress, humiliation, mental and physical pain, and other damage in an amount to be proven at trial, but not less than $50 million. Smokey Robinson's conduct constituted fraud, oppression, and/or malice and was in conscious disregard of the rights and safety of plaintiffs, such as to warrant the imposition of punitive damages pursuant to Civil Code Section 3294. As a further and direct result of defendant Smokey Robinson's action, as alleged here, and plaintiffs have incurred and continue to incur legal fees, costs, and other expenses in the prosecution of this manner, which they are entitled to recover. Ninth action, Bain Act, by plaintiffs against defendant Smokey Robinson. Plaintiffs hereby reallege and incorporate by reference all the above allegations as those set forth in full. Defendant Smokey Robinson inferred with or attempted to interfere with plaintiffs' clearly established rights under United States and California law, including but not limited to plaintiffs' rights of protection from bodily restraint and harm and personal insult, Civil Code Section 43, by threats, intimidation, and coercion. During the scope of their employment, defendant Smokey Robinson intimidated plaintiffs with threats of further violence because they are females and they were alone with him when the threats and acts of violence occurred. Plaintiffs reasonably believe that if they exercise their rights guaranteed by the United States and California law, defendant Smokey Robinson would have committed further violence against them in addition to the actual acts of violence as alleged herein. As a direct and proximate result of defendant Smokey Robinson's actions, plaintiffs were harmed and have suffered and continue to suffer great and general damages and extreme physical, emotional distress, humiliation, mental, physical pain, and other damage, and amount to be proven at trial, but not less than $50 million. Smokey Robinson's conduct constituted fraud, oppression, and/or malice, and was in conscious disregard of the rights and safety of plaintiffs, such as to warrant the imposition of punitive damages pursuant to Civil Code Section 3294 as further and direct result of defendant Smokey Robinson's actions, and alleged herein plaintiffs have incurred and continue to incur legal fees and costs and other expenses in the prosecution of this matter in which they are entitled to recover. The 10th cause of action. So just to recap it for you, I'm not going to go through all of them again, but I'm just going to recap all 10 up to this point. So the first cause of action was negligence. Okay, that was the first one. Second cause of action was second battery. The third one was assault. The fourth cause of action was false imprisonment. The fifth cause of action was intentional infliction of emotional distress. The sixth one was negligent infliction of emotional distress. The seventh one was gender violence. Eighth one was the Ralph Act. The ninth one was the Bain Act. And now we are at number 10, hostile work environment, sexual harassment by plaintiff against all defendants. Plaintiff reallege and incorporate by reference all the above allegations as those set forth here in full. Defendants' conduct create a hostile work environment for plaintiffs, making the conditions of their employment intolerable in direct contravention of various statutes and state law decisions, included but not limited to California Government Code 12940 H and J. Plaintiffs were subjected to a hostile work environment due to, but not limited to, inappropriate, forceful, and offensive sexual touching, culminating in rape of plaintiffs, as well as defendant Francis Robinson, offensive and hostile actions and language toward the plaintiffs during the course of their employment. Over the course of the plaintiff's employment, plaintiffs were subjected to forceful and offensive sexual contact by wanton touching and rape by defendant Smokey Robinson. Specifically, defendant Smokey Robinson would inappropriately touch plaintiffs, forcefully pull their blouse, pants, and skirts off and rape them. Despite having full knowledge of defendant Smokey Robinson's conduct, defendant Francis Robinson will further perpetuate hostilities towards plaintiffs instead of preventing further harassment and assaults. Instead, defendant Francis Robinson, throughout plaintiffs' employment, berated plaintiffs with derogatory, racially charged epithets, assigning additional arduous tasks, and forbidding plaintiffs from exercising their rights to meals and rest periods as mandated by California Labor Code. Such harassment was so severe and pervasive that it altered the terms and conditions of plaintiffs' employment, creating a hostile, abusive work environment and making their work conditions intolerable. Said harassment was sufficiently extreme to amount a change in the terms and conditions of plaintiff's agreement. As a direct and legal result of defendants' conduct, and each of them, plaintiffs have suffered and continue to suffer general, consequential, and special damages, including but not limited to substantial loss in earnings, unemployment benefits, physical injuries, physical sickness, as well as emotional distress, plus medical expenses, future medical expenses, and attorney's fees, all to their damage in the amount, according to proof, but in a sum not less than $50 million. Said actions justify the imposition of punitive damages, and that defendants committed the acts alleged herein maliciously, fraudulently, and oppressively with the wrongful intention of injuring plaintiffs from improper and evil motives amounting to malice and in conscious disregard of plaintiffs' rights. Based upon the foregoing, plaintiffs are entitled to recover punitive damages from defendants, and each of them in an amount according to proof. Prior to filing this complaint, plaintiffs fulfilled any legal requirement or exhausted any administrative remedy imposed on them by having filed the substance of claims alleged herein with the California Department of Civil Rights herein after CRD, and has received the right to sue letters from the CRD dated April 4th, 2025. Plaintiffs have therefore substantially complied with all requirements for the filing of this complaint and have timely exhausted their administrative remedies. 11th cause of action. Good Lord Jesus, I thought it was just 10. My Lord, my Lord, my Lord. All right. 11th cause of action, constructive discharge in violation of FEHA. Plaintiffs reallege and incorporate by reference all the above allegations as those set forth here in full at all times herein mentioned in this complaint. California's Fair Employment and Housing Act was in full force and effect and binding on defendants, and the defendants were subject to its terms. Defendants intentionally create or knowingly permit work conditions to exist that they were so intolerable that a reasonable person in plaintiff's positions would have had no reasonable alternative except to resign. Over the course of plaintiff's employment, they were subjected to forceful and offensive sexual contact by unwanted touching and rape by defendant Robinson. Specifically, defendant Robinson would inappropriately touch plaintiffs, forcibly remove their pants, bras, panties, and repeatedly orally incorporate and rape them. Such harassment was so severe or pervasive that it alerted the terms and conditions of plaintiff's employment, creating a hostile, abusive work environment, making their working conditions intolerable. Said harassment was sufficiently extreme to amount a change in the terms and conditions of plaintiff's employment, whereas they had no reasonable choice under the circumstances but to quit their employment. Defendant Smokey Robinson's conduct above described is in violation of various statutes and state law decisions, including California Government Code Section 12940 ET Sec. SEQ, y'all. As a direct and legal result of defendant Smokey Robinson's actions, plaintiffs have suffered and continue to suffer general, consequential, and special damages, including but not limited to substantial loss of earnings, other employment benefits, physical injuries, physical sickness, as well as emotional distress, plus medical expenses, future medical expenses, and attorney's fees, all to their damage in an amount according to proof, but in an amount not less than $50 million. Defendants Smokey Robinson's conduct of forcing plaintiffs to quit was wrongful and justifies the imposition of punitive damages since it was against public policy. In doing so, defendants acted maliciously, fraudulently, oppressively, with the wrongful intention of injuring plaintiff. Based upon the forging, plaintiffs are entitled to recover punitive damages from defendants and each of them in an amount according to proof. Prior to filing this complaint, plaintiffs fulfilled any legal requirement or exhausted any administrative remedy imposed on them by having filed the substance of claims alleged herein with the California Department of Civil Rights herein after CRD, and has received a right to sue letters from the CRD day April 4th, 2025. Plaintiffs have therefore substantially complied with all requirements for the filing of this complaint and have timely exhausted their administrative remedies. 12th cause of action, labor code. Ooh, Jesus Christ, Charlie. Failure to pay minimum wage by plaintiff against all defendants. Plaintiffs reallege and incorporate by reference all above allegations as those set forth here in full. California Labor Code 1194 entitles an employee to receive compensation in an amount equal to or greater than minimum wage for all hours worked. All hours worked must be paid at the statutory or agreed rate, and no part of this rate may be used as a credit against a minimum wage obligation. Plaintiffs were regularly required to work 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. Plaintiffs were not paid for the hours worked in excess of 8 hours daily, and the additional hours worked in excess of 40 hours weekly, and thus not paid minimum wage for all hours worked. As a result of violations, California Law Code Section 1194, for failure to pay minimum wage, plaintiffs are entitled to recover the minimum wages plus liquidated damages and an amount to the wages unlawfully unpaid and interest thereon, plus attorney's fees and costs. 13th cause of action, violation of labor code. Once again, failure to pay overtime wages by plaintiffs against all defendants. We're almost at the bottom of this, y'all. It's 27 pages, and we're on page 19. Plaintiffs reallege and incorporate by reference all of the above allegations as those set forth here in full. California Labor Code 510 provides that employees in California shall not be employed more than 8 hours in any workday or 40 hours in a work week unless they receive additional compensation beyond their work wages in amounts specified by law. California Labor Code 1194 and 1198 provide that employees in California shall not be employed more than 8 hours in any workday unless they receive additional compensation beyond their regular wages in amounts specified by law. Additionally, California Labor Code 1198 states that the employment of an employee for longer hours than those fixed by the Industrial Welfare Commission is unlawful. The governing wage order of the Industrial Welfare Commission requires, among other things, that payment of a premium wage rate for all hours worked in excess of 8 hours per day or 40 hours per week. During the course of plaintiff's employment, defendants failed to compensate plaintiffs for all overtime hours worked in excess of 8 hours per day and or 40 hours per week as required by Labor Code 510, 1194. Specifically, plaintiff was not paid the overtime rate for applicable overtime hours worked, as she worked approximately 20 hours a week, 7 days a week. Not only did defendants not pay plaintiffs minimum wage, as listed above, they did not pay plaintiffs their overtime rate for applicable overtime hours. At all times relevant here, two defendants failed to pay plaintiffs overtime compensation for the hours they worked in excess of the maximum hours permissible by law as required by California Labor Code 510 and 1198 by virtue of defendants' unlawful failure to pay additional premium rate compensation to plaintiffs. Their overtime hours worked. Plaintiffs suffered and will continue to suffer in damages and amounts which are presently unknown to them and which will be asserted according to proof at trial. Plaintiffs, wow, this might be 20 causes of action, y'all. We'll see here. We got 7 more pages. Plaintiffs request recovery of overtime compensation according to proof, interest, attorney's fees, and costs pursuant to California Labor Code 1194, as well as the assessment of any statutory penalties against defendants in a sum as provided by California Labor Code and or other statutes. Further, plaintiffs are entitled to seek and recover reasonable attorney's fees and costs pursuant to California Labor Code 1194. 14th cause of action, inaccurate wage statements. Plaintiffs reallege and incorporate by reference all the above allegations as those set forth here in full at all material times set forth here in California Labor Code 226. Provides that every employer shall furnish each of his or her employees an accurate itemized wage statement in writing showing 9 pieces of information. 1, gross wages earned. 2, total hours worked by the employee. 3, the number of piece rate units earned and any applicable piece rate if the employee is paid or at a piece rate basis. 4, all deductions, provide that all deductions made on written reports of the employee may be aggregated and show as one item. 5, net wages earned. 6, the inclusive dates of the period for which the employee is paid. 7, the last 4 digits of his or her social security number or employee identification number other than social security number. 8, the name or address of the legal entity that is the employer. And 9, all applicable hourly rates in effect during the pay period and the corresponding number of hours worked at each hourly rate by the employee. So all 9 of those are in this 14th cause of action, violation of labor code. Defendants intentionally and willfully failed to provide plaintiffs with accurate wage statements, as no wage statements were furnished to plaintiffs whatsoever. As a result of defendants' violation of California Labor Code Section 226, plaintiffs suffered injury and damage to their statutorily protected rights. Specifically, plaintiffs were injured by defendants' intentional violation of California Labor Code Section 226 because they were denied both their legal right to receive and their protected interest in receiving accurate itemized wage statements under California Labor Code Section 226. Plaintiffs were also injured as a result of having to bring this action to attempt to obtain correct wage information following defendants' refusal to comply with many of the mandates of California's Labor Code and regulated laws and regulations. Under California Code Section 226, plaintiffs are entitled to recover from defendants greater of their actual damages caused by defendants' failure to comply with California Labor Code 226A or an aggregate penalty not exceeding $4,000. 15th cause of action, failure to provide rest periods. Plaintiffs against all defendants, including those 1 through 25. Plaintiffs re-allege and incorporate by reference all the above allegations as though set forth here in full. Plaintiffs regularly worked without rest periods as mandated by California labor laws. Labor Code Section 2267 provides no employer shall require any employee to work during any meal rest period mandated by applicable order of the Industrial Welfare Commission. If an employer fails to provide an employee a meal rest period in accordance with applicable order of the Industrial Welfare Commission, the employer shall pay the employee 1 additional hour pay at the employee's regular rate compensation for each work day that meal rest period is not provided. At all times during plaintiff's employment with defendants as non-exempt employees or, work for hire or freelance worker, which means they can hire you and fire anytime that they want to. It's not right, but it is what it is. They were not regularly provided with a 10-minute rest period for every 4 hours of work. Due to defendants' failure to provide plaintiffs with their mandated rest breaks, defendants are liable to plaintiffs for 1 hour of additional pay at the regular rate of compensation of each workday that a proper mandated rest break was not provided. 16th cause of action, failure to provide meal periods. Plaintiffs against all defendants, including those 1 through 25. Plaintiffs reallege and incorporate by reference all the above allegations as those set forth here in full. Defendants failed to maintain a policy of providing meal breaks as required by Labor Code sections 2267 and 512. Plaintiffs worked in excess of 5 hours a day without being provided the statutory required half-hour meal period in which they were relieved of their duties as required by Labor Code sections 2267 and 512. See Brinker Restaurant Corp. versus Spirit Court 2012, 52 Cal 4th 1004. The employer satisfies this obligation if it relieves its employees of all duty, relinquishes control over their activities, and permits them a reasonable opportunity to take an uninterrupted 30-minute break and does not impede or discourage them from doing so. A first meal period is required no later than the end of employee's 5th hour work. A second meal period is required no later than the end of the employee's 10th hour work. During plaintiff's employment with defendants as a non-exempt employee, plaintiffs worked in excess of 5 hours a day without being provided a statutory required half-hour period in which they were relieved of their duties. In fact, the plaintiffs had to conceal the fact from the defendants that they were eating at all during their employment. Plaintiffs did not consent to waive their meal periods on days they worked 6 hours. Because defendants failed to provide proper meal periods, they are liable to plaintiffs for an additional hour of pay at the regular rate of compensation for each meal break not provided. Child. So, all together, everybody, 16 causes of action in this one lawsuit. Prayer for relief. Wherefore, on all causes of action, plaintiffs pray that judgment be entered in the favor and against all defendants, and each of them as follows. First cause of action, general damages. 1. General damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial in an amount not less than $50 million. Number 2, special damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number 3, pre-judgment interest in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. And 4, such further relief as the court deems appropriate. For the second cause of action, number 1, general damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial, but in an amount not less than $50 million. Number 2, special damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number 3, punitive damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number 4, pre-judgment interest in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number 5, attorney's fees and costs of this action. And number 6, such further relief as this court deems appropriate. For the third cause of for the third cause of action, general damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial, but in an amount not less than $50 million. Number 2, special damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number 3, punitive damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number 4, pre-judgment interest in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number 5, such other relief as this court deems appropriate. For the fourth cause of action, number 1, general damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial, but in an amount not less than $50 million. Number 2, special damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number 3, punitive damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number 4, pre-judgment interest in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number 5, such other further relief as this court deems appropriate. For the fifth cause of action, number 1, general damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial, but in an amount not less than $50 million. That was number 1. Number 2, special damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number 3, punitive damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number 4, pre-judgment interest in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. And number 5, such other further relief as this court deems appropriate. For the sixth cause of action. General damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial, but in an amount not less than $50 million. That's number one. Number two, special damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number three, punitive damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number four, prejudgment interest in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number five, attorney's fees and costs of this action. Number six, such further relief as this court deems appropriate. For the seventh cause of action. Now, I know what you're thinking, Bray. Why are you repeating all of this? Okay, I'm repeating all of this because, for one, the mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Shout out to UNICEF, donate to HBCUs. Number two, what did I say? Stick to the prompt, or the prompt will be about you. And number three, I'm reading every single thing in this document, so that way the prompt won't be about us, okay? So with that being said, we're almost done. We're on page 24, okay? For the seventh cause of action, number one, general damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial, but an amount not less than $50 million. Number two, special damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number three, punitive damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number four, prejudgment interest in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number five, for injunctive relief. Number six, attorney's fees and costs of this action. And number seven, such other further relief as this court deems appropriate. For the eighth cause of action, number one, special damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial, but in an amount not less than $50 million. Number two, prejudgment in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number three, injunction relief. And number four, such other further relief as this court deems appropriate. For the ninth cause of action, number one, general damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial in an amount not less than $50 million. Number two, punitive damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number three, prejudgment interest in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number four, such other further relief as this court deems appropriate. For the 10th cause of action, number one, general damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial in an amount not less than $50 million. Number two, punitive damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number three, prejudgment interest in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number four, such other further relief as this court deems appropriate. For the 11th cause of action, number one, general damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial in an amount not less than $50 million. Number two, punitive damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number three, prejudgment interest in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number four, such other further relief as this court deems appropriate. For the 12th cause of action, number one, special damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number two, prejudgment interest in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number three, liquidated damages under Labor Code Section 1194.2A. Number five, attorney's fees and costs under Government Code 1194A. And number six, such other further relief as this court deems appropriate. For the 13th cause of action, number one, special damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number two, special interest in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number three, liquidated damages under Labor Code 1194.2A. Number four, attorney's fees and costs under Labor Code 1194A. And number five, such other further relief as this court deems appropriate. For the 14th cause of action, number one, special damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number two, prejudgment interest in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number three, liquidated damages under Labor Code 1194.2A. Number four, attorney's fees and costs under Labor Code 1194A. And number five, such other further relief as this court deems appropriate. For the 15th cause of action, number one, special damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number two, prejudgment interest in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number three, attorney's fees and costs under Labor Code 2802C. And number four, such other further relief as this court deems appropriate. For the 16th. Hang on, let me flip it, reverse it, and rewind it back. For the 16th, cause of action. That's 15 plus 1, 16th cause of action. Number 1, special damages in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number 2, prejudgment interest in an amount to be determined by proof at trial. Number 3, attorney's fees and costs under Labor Code Section 2802C. Number 4, such other further relief as this court deems appropriate. Demand for jury trial. Plaintiffs hereby demand a trial by jury as to all costs of this action. Dated May 6th by Harris and Hayden. John W. Harris, Herbert J. Hayden, attorneys for plaintiffs. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your 27-page lawsuit on Smokey damn Robinson. Hell. Woo, Jesus. Y'all, I'm going to turn off my camera now because we done the whole show for an hour. Yes, we have. Woo. Child. Oh my God. The fact that we were able to do that rather in 1 hour, 25 minutes and 6 seconds is beyond me. Yeah. Mine too. Mine too. I mean, first of all, it's so much, right? And like I said, I hope to God Almighty that the YouTube gods give me love, grace, and space, because I read every single word, YouTube. Back off camera. Because my Lord, I mean, just you have 4 Jane Does, all who have been raped in different states of duress. Smokey Robinson allegedly had a routine to do this to these 4 women. You got the blue bedroom, you have the laundry room, the garage that don't have cameras. You have Francis, giving derogatory terms and language to the women, not providing wage statements, not providing overtime, not providing lunch breaks. That was basically what I got from it. It is a lot. And of course, we have to let the courts do what they do, obviously. And Smokey Robinson is not guilty. He's not guilty, right? So we have to, we just have to see what the end is going to be, to use a phrase, but my Lord Jesus. So right now we're going to rest for a little bit. Y'all got any thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, formations of perspective? That'll let you know how tired I am. Formations of perspective that you want to put in the live chat. Let me know. Of course, for all of you on the replay gang, please leave your comments down below of what you thought about the Smokey Robinson lawsuit there. So, woo. I'm just gonna put this comment back up. I'm just going to put that comment back up. Because, man, 27 pages. Okay. 27 pages, ladies and gentlemen. 27 pages. That is the latest as of right now. I'm sure that there will be more to come this weekend. Listen, me too. Me too. By the way, y'all, like I said, this is not the only show that I have for you all this evening. And thank y'all for the 6 likes. I do appreciate that very, very kindly. So tonight, right here, live in 1 hour, we're going to be talking about Lionsgate and Stars. They are 2 separate companies now, but what possibilities are available, I'll let you know. I think I have 7 different ways that Lion Gates and Stars could be power-ups for the industry. And this article right here from the Hollywood Reporter, it is about Warner Brothers Discovery. Y'all remember when I told y'all about Warner Brothers Discovery separating the linear cable networks from the studios and the streamers? Well, there's a huge update about that. So if you like HGTV, if you like the Oprah Winfrey Network, if you like the Food Network, you might want to make it do what it do and meet me. Don't meet me there, beat me there at 8:30. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. Hope the Zoom meeting goes well. Love you, value. Appreciate you so much. Child, I'm going to probably just rest here until like maybe 1 hour and 35 minutes. And then I'm going to get off so I can rest for the 8:30 tour because this was a lot. But you guys got the documents, like I said. The documents are in the description box below. And the only thing I ask is that you say you got it from deadline.com and you got it from Braylon Lee from YouTube. That's all I ask. I don't ask for a lot. Grown people gonna do what they're going to do, but I do believe that somebody did the work. We can at least give the credit. Okay? That's the fair thing to do. But then again, everybody ain't fair in this world, as we are able to see. As the fireworks are going off behind me, child, I'm a rest. Actually, you know what? Let's take a little commercial break, child. I need one, you need one, we all need one. So let's take a little commercial break. We'll be back with more right after this rolling.
When we start a project, we always start with story. That story is key. So we began with the story of the Waturi people. The myth of the Waturi people is that long ago, they set out on their outrigger canoes looking for a new home. There was a legend that said they could only find this new home with the help of this mini golden-finned fish called Kanuku. And they searched across Pacifica and Polynesia, and they visited all these islands. They went to Bali and Tahiti and went as far as Rapa Nui, Easter Island. Along the way, they made friends, collected sort of the culture, and they sailed on and on and on, and they almost to the edge of the world. There, to their amazement, was Kanuku. And she turned to the people and said, "You are ready." Turned and swam away. They followed, and within a day, they caught sight of this smoking mountain on the horizon, which was Volcano Bay. And it was pristine, beautiful, lush, everything that they would want in a home. And that's the backstory that informs everything we do in our design. The idea here is to create the best experience. We know what our guests want. They want the thrill and excitement of our theme parks, but they also want a place where they can relax and chill out and feel pampered. Nobody wants to stand in line. And so we said, let's get rid of them. Nobody wants to carry rafts up a ride tower all the way to the top. So we said, let's do that for you. Exhilaration, excitement, and relaxation. That's what you're gonna get at Volcano Bay.
Sweet boy, one look at you, and it was plain to see you were my destiny. God, you were found. I come from nothing. Our son is your son. Welcome to the celebration. We all we got. I'll do that. Don't you leave here to go for happiness. I want you to leave here to show.
There's really no secret about our approach. We keep moving forward,
with the hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world.
In Disney's 102-year history, there have been many defining moments and countless achievements. Today, we celebrate another thrilling moment, the creation of a spectacular new Disney theme park resort coming to Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi is a place where heritage meets innovation, a place where we preserve our past while designing the future.
Bringing a Disney theme park resort to Yas Island, Abu Dhabi marks a historic milestone in our journey as a global family destination.
The 7th Disney theme park resort destination represents a new frontier in theme park ambitions. Our resort in Abu Dhabi will be the most advanced and interactive destination in our entire portfolio. The location of our park is incredibly unique. It's anchored by a beautiful waterfront, which will allow us to tell our stories in completely new ways. Ultimately, this project will be a celebration of what's possible when creativity and progress come together.
What we are creating with Disney in Abu Dhabi is a whole new world of imagination, an experience that will inspire generations across the region and the world.
This collaboration represents a powerful fusion of Disney's unmatched legacy in storytelling and Mira's commitment to bringing world-class entertainment to our guests.
Abu Dhabi's vision for the future is to create a legacy for generations to come.
Disneyland Abu Dhabi will be authentically Disney and distinctly Emirati. An oasis of extraordinary Disney entertainment at this crossroads of the world. It will bring to life our timeless characters and stories in many new ways, becoming a source of joy and inspiration for the people of this vast region to enjoy for generations to come.
I'm loving it.
We are right back. Welcome back into Braylon's virtual tour live. Hope you guys enjoyed that commercial break, child. I needed one. After reading 27 pages live, okay? Listen, my thought says, Smokey, better give lessons of how to stay at the top of your game at 85. You know what? In the words of Melody Sheree, I'm not about to play the piano with you. And by the way, why is Melody having an 8-hour live this Saturday? Like, I know Mother's Day is Sunday, but good Lord Jesus, just do a 3-hour live, child. Good Lord Jesus. Because, I mean, honestly, I feel like at this point, Melody wants to do the 8-hour lives. Good Lord. That's a work day on a Saturday. Lord Jesus. Listen, I like simplicity, okay? Nothing wrong with that. I love it. I value it. I wish we had more people with a work ethic like Melody's, but I feel like sometimes Melody gets tired of doing 8 hours. Jesus Christ. Yeah. But anyway. Lord Jesus. But yep. That is the show, everybody. By the way, y'all, the thumbnail here. Let me see if I can get the thumbnail up here for y'all. I think I can. Real quick. Delete that overlay. Y'all, this was the thumbnail here. Hey, I'm gonna take down my thoughts for a second. I said, Smokey, what in the only you could have prevented this wildfire is going on here? Y'all know I like me some wordplay. Y'all know that about me by now. Yes, indeed. Oh, my Lord Jesus. Well, like I said, I do hope that you guys enjoyed this bonus tour. Y'all know I normally don't go live on Thursdays, but no, I'm like, listen, people are talking about this, and I think Court documents definitely deserve to get read. And yes, indeed. So that being said, it's time for the Daily Motivator. We grow by great dreams. All big men dreamers. Woodrow Wilson. Thank you for that, good sir. It's time for the Daily Motivator for Thursday, May 8th, 2025. Begin with thankfulness. It is impossible to overstate the value of being thankful. For genuine thankfulness, the richness in your life emerges and expands. Feeling and expressing gratitude is much more than a mere nice and polite thing to do. It enables you to access and utilize the abundance in your world. When you appreciate the value of what you have, you gain benefit from that value, and expanded prosperity, achievement, and fulfillment are at their heart's acts of gratitude. Be thankful for your liabilities and you transform them into assets. Be thankful for your weaknesses and you build new strengths. Whatever situation you're in, it's one to be thankful for. With a thankful heart and a thankful perspective, you propel yourself into better and better situations. With thankfulness, begin with thankfulness, rather, and continue with it. Put that thankfulness into relentless action and live the best life you can imagine. Ralph Wilson. You know, I am very appreciative of thankfulness. I thank the Lord every day. Oh, sorry, y'all. Can I believe y'all did not see? StreamYard, damn it. Swear to God. But I will read it one more time because I don't mind reading it one more time. All right, y'all. So that was the quote there. We grow great by dreams. All big men are dreamers. Woodrow Wilson. It's time for the Day Motivator once again for Thursday, May 8th, 2025. Begin with thankfulness. It is impossible to overstate the value of being thankful. From genuine thankfulness, the richness in your life emerges and expands. Feeling and expressing gratitude is much more than merely a nice and polite thing to do. It enables you to access and utilize the abundance in your world. When you appreciate the value of what you have, you gain benefit from that value and expand it. Prosperity, achievement, and fulfillment are at their heart's acts of gratitude. Be thankful for your ability to transform, and you transform them into assets. Be thankful for your weaknesses, and you build new strengths. Whatever situation you're in, it's one to be thankful for. With a thankful heart and a thankful perspective, you'll propel yourself into better and better situations. Begin with thankfulness and continue with it. Put that thankfulness into relentless action and live the best life you can imagine. Ralph Wilson. You know, like I said, I appreciate that song or whatever you doing in this season. Please don't do without me. Sometimes you are in a season of Lord, get them before I have to get them. I had that situation today at my job. Oh, Lord Jesus. If you have an incompetent waste of space and sincerely should not be in charge of anything except for their own life, God bless you. Jesus, be offense. So the first thing about begin with thankfulness is recognize that eventually there will be more things to be thankful for. Whatever situation you are going through is only for that time period. Okay, so that's the first thing I'll tell you about that. The second thing I will tell you about that, be thankful for your liabilities and you transform them into assets. One thing that my cousin said to me one time was like, once you start talking, you never shut up. So I took that liability and made it an asset. And now here we are getting closer and closer to 500,000 views on YouTube, across 3,000 subscribers. So recognize whatever might be a weakness. You just need to work through that weakness and make it a strength. And if it's a weakness, it's a weakness, but at least recognize that. And finally, begin with thankfulness and continue with it. Like I said before, recognize people who are just thankful just to exist in life, but they really don't execute it in how they live. Be careful of those people, okay? Because I truly feel at this point, people are more about the status of being known than the energy of being received well. And that's a sad state of affairs that we live in today's world. So yeah, just be careful about people who are more about their persona than the soul of who they are. Okay? Just keeping it a buck. And with that being said, y'all, it's time for this outro on YouTube. Know what you do and do what you know. Never say you want more special because you were always. Oh, hang on. Let me see. Conjunction, junction, what's your function? I'ma get you there if you're very careful. Oh my God. As the fireworks are going off behind us here. Know what you do and do what you know. This sounds the best outro on YouTube, for real, for real. Know what you do and do what you know. Never say you want more special because you were always one of us. And trust you may not be where you want to be. By the end of it, you'll be where you need to be. Do what you've been chosen to do. Wise one thing, call yourself. Another thing, be chosen. One love, much love, all love. I have spent time with you. You have spent time with me. And hopefully by spending time together, we'll also be great together. And always remember, we're doing radio, television, YouTube, living your best life. Or Lord Jesus, you are just, you're just trying to mentally hold your soul together after reading 27 pages of somebody else's business. Make sure the replay is not just where you watch it, not just where you're the super, but if you want to experience it again. I love you. I value, I embrace you all. Always remember, when I see love, you gotta give it. When I see love, you gotta give it. When I see love, you gotta give it. Wherever obstacles you overcome, wherever success you have achieved upon this particular day, I'm extremely proud of you, but I know what's proud of you, be proud of you. So, and finally, I truly feel that we really don't know people as much as we think. Like, have you been seeing what's been going on in the world? Like, who is anybody at this point? I just want to say that because I'm just like, Shannon Sharpe, Jonathan Majors, P. Diddy, Smokey Robinson, Joy Taylor, Skip Bayless. Who is anybody? By the way, if this is your final tour for this evening, good night to you. But as for the rest of you, I'll see you at 8:30 for the Lionsgate Stars merger acquisition discussion. I have 7 different companies that I believe could utilize Lionsgate and Stars to bring a whole new entity. And I might have an 8th one. We'll see. But also, too, if you like the Food Network, if you like HGTV, if you like the Oprah Winfrey Network, you might need to meet me there at 8:30 upon this channel because there is some news from the Howard Report that's going to relate to the merger acquisition talk of Warner Brothers, the merger acquisition talk of Lionsgate and Stars as well. So, that being said, one love, much love, all love. I feel the love. And I send it right back to you. Good night, everybody. For the rest of you, I'll see you at 8:30. But for all of you who this is your final stop for this evening, good night. Be careful in this virtual world of social media. Not everybody deserves the best of you. Not everybody deserves your presence. But most of all, not everybody deserves the frequency of you giving a damn. See y'all soon. Bye-bye.
I thought I should tell you, they've been talking about you. Yeah, they've been talking about you. They've been talking about the fact that they've done everything they could to stop you and everything they could to block you, but you still win. They've been talking about the fact that they have undermined your success and they have tried to sabotage your seasons, but you keep winning. They've been talking about the fact that even though they don't like each other, they get together to try to kill you, but you keep winning. They've been talking about the fact that you were voted least likely to succeed, but like cream, you keep rising to the top. They've been talking about how they tried to burn your world down, but like the phoenix, you rose from the ashes. They've been talking about you. And you know what they say? Oh, she's just lucky. He's just lucky. But no, you ain't lucky. You're anointed. You got something on you. You got favor on you. You got power on you. You were born to win. Now they can call it luck, but it's grace. They can call it luck, but it's favor. But whatever they call it, it doesn't matter, because you know what God calls you? Do you know what God calls you? A winner. I thought I should tell you they've been talking about you. Yeah, they've been talking about you. They've been talking about the fact that they've done everything they could to stop you and everything they could to block you, but you still win. They've been talking about the fact that they have undermined your success and they have tried to sabotage your seasons, but you keep winning. They've been talking about the fact that even though they don't like each other, they get together to try to kill you, but you keep winning. They've been talking about the fact that you were voted least likely to succeed, but like cream, you keep rising to the top. They've been talking about how they tried to burn your world down, but like the phoenix, you rose from the ashes. They've been talking about you. And you know what they say? Oh, she's just lucky. He's just lucky. But no, you ain't lucky. You're anointed. You got something on you. You got favor on you. You got power on you. You were born to win. Now they can call it luck, but it's grace. They can call it luck, but it's favor. But whatever they call it, it doesn't matter, because you know what God calls you? Do you know what God calls you? A winner. I thought I should tell you they've been talking about you. Yeah, they've been talking about you. They've been talking about the fact that they've done everything they could to stop you and everything they could to block you, but you still win. They've been talking about the fact that they have undermined your success and they have tried to sabotage your seasons, but you keep winning. They've been talking about the fact that even though they don't like each other, they get together to try to kill you, but you keep winning. They've been talking about the fact that you were voted least likely to succeed, but like cream, you keep rising to the top. They've been talking about how they tried to burn your world down, but like the phoenix, you rose from the ashes. They've been talking about you. And you know what they say? Oh, she's just lucky. He's just lucky. But no, you ain't lucky. You're anointed. You got something on you. You got favor on you. You got power on you. You were born to win. Now they can call it luck, but it's grace. They can call it luck, but it's favor. But whatever they call it, it doesn't matter, because you know what God calls you? Do you know what God calls you? A winner.
There's really no secret about our approach. We keep moving forward.
With the hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world.
In Disney's 102-year history, there have been many defining moments and countless achievements. Today, we celebrate another thrilling moment, the creation of a spectacular new Disney theme park resort coming to Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi is a place where heritage meets innovation, a place where we preserve our past while designing the future.
Bringing a Disney theme park resort to Yas Island, Abu Dhabi marks a historic milestone in our journey as a global family destination.
The 7th Disney theme park resort destination represents a new frontier in theme park ambitions. Our resort in Abu Dhabi will be the most advanced and interactive destination in our entire portfolio. The location of our park is incredibly unique. It's anchored by a beautiful waterfront, which will allow us to tell our stories in completely new ways. Ultimately, this project will be a celebration of what's possible when creativity and progress come together.
What we are creating with Disney in Abu Dhabi is a whole new world of imagination, an experience that will inspire generations across the region and the world.
This collaboration represents a powerful fusion of Disney's unmatched legacy in storytelling and Mira's commitment to bringing world-class entertainment to our guests.
Abu Dhabi's vision for the future is to create a legacy for generations to come.
Disneyland Abu Dhabi will be authentically Disney and distinctly Emirati. An oasis of extraordinary Disney entertainment at this crossroads of the world. It will bring to life our timeless characters and stories in many new ways, becoming a source of joy and inspiration for the people of this vast region to enjoy for generations to come.
Prepare for a journey beyond imagination, beyond belief, beyond anything you've experienced before. Universal Epic Universe, a new theme park where you'll step through extraordinary portals to 5 immersive worlds. Prepare for a cosmic voyage of discovery, an isle of fire-breathing excitement, a shadowy world of monsters and mystery, new wonders in the wizarding world, and a new way to play. Plus the splendor of a magnificent resort hotel overlooking the park. It's all new excitement at Universal Orlando Resort. A week's worth of vacation thrills with 4 amazing theme parks, a variety of spectacular themed hotels, and incredible dining and entertainment. It's all at Universal Orlando Resort, where you'll find new adventures every day. Explore the astonishing worlds of Universal Epic Universe at Universal Orlando Resort.